Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today.
So our lesson for today, children, is a lesson in standard 10th English, and it is the beautiful poem by Rabindranath Tagore, and the name of the poem is Where the Mind is Without Fear. Now what we will do in this poem is, children, we will read the poem, we will try to understand the meaning of the poem, the difficult words in the poem. Before that, we will do certain warming up exercises which are there in your textbook before the poem, and afterwards we will talk about certain exercises which are there in your English workshop part. So in this lesson, we will try to cover as many points as possible, not as many points, all the points which are there in this particular lesson in the textbook. So let us start with doing the first exercise. You have to pair up with your partner and match the terms with their given meanings. Now, obviously, children, we are in a situation today where we are not going to school because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So you do not have a partner as in a classmate with you. You can do this alone also. You can open the dictionary. You can try to find out the meanings from the dictionary, or if you want a partner, you can team up with your brother, your sister, or your parents if they are free. So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to match the terms. So you have certain terms related to human behavior or related to personalities. Okay, or related to certain traits in your personality, certain qualities in your personality, that you're supposed to match with their meanings in column B. So let us start. You will first try to do it yourself. Now in this video format, children, you have the pause button in your hand. So whenever we start an exercise like this, instead of directly going and checking and seeing all the answers, what you can do is you can press the pause button and you can try to figure out the answers for yourself, and then you can again play the video and check whether your answers match with mine. So the first one is humanism. So now what is the meaning of humanism? Humanism is a way of thinking. Okay, so now try to find out which is the answer which might match humanism. So it is answer last one, that is E, a rationalistic outlook towards humans rather than a divine or supernatural one. So you are looking at human beings in the view that they are human beings and they have human qualities, they commit mistakes. Okay, so you do not try to compare them or give them supernatural qualities, and you treat them as human beings with empathy, with kindness, with love, etc. Come to the second one, patriotism. So now this is a word which we are familiar with. So what is patriotism? It has got something to do with your country, isn't it? So patriotism is the quality of being patriotic. So who is patriotic? Someone who supports his country, who wants to see his country developing, who loves his country and is able to sacrifice things for the betterment of his nation. Those people are called patriotic, and that quality is called patriotism. Now what is internationalism? As against patriotism, we have internationalism, where some people believe that the whole world is one. So it is a state of process of being international. So you do not believe that you are part of a particular nation. You believe that you are part of the international community. Okay, that you are one human being among all the other human beings on the earth, and your country or your language or your nationality does not divide you. Then following the same lines of internationalism, you have the next idea, that is liberalism. So now what is liberalism? Liberal means free. Okay, so someone who has got a lot of freedom in his views, who has got ideas which are progressive, is called as a liberal person. So a person holding liberal views, or the quality of a person where he holds liberal views is called as liberalism. And the last one is environmentalism. Now the very word environmentalism has got something to do with environment. So what is environmentalism? Concern about an action aimed at protecting the environment. So now all of us have environmentalism within us, and we should try to nurture and develop it if you want to protect our Mother Earth. Okay, so this was the first exercise. Now when we go to the next exercise, you will see that we will discuss types of poems, because this is a poem, isn't it? The first lesson in your standard 10th textbook, and it is a poem. So poems in English, we have read many poems in the lower classes also. There are certain poems which are very small, some of them are long, and some of them talk about something funny, whereas some poems tell us stories. So poems in English are of different kinds. So you have sonnet, you have a limerick, you have ballads, you have elegies, free verse poems, epic, lyric, humorous poems, and idyllic poems. So let us, with the help of a dictionary or the internet, try to guess and write the type of poem against its description. So the first one, a long story poem, often mythical. Mythical means based on characters which may be real or which may not be real. Okay, so mythical story is called as a poem. In the form of a poem, it's written in the form of a poem. It's actually a long story. All right. Then a short story poem with a message. It's a short poem, but it is got a message. So that is a fable. Now we have read stories of Aesop's fables, isn't it? We have read fables from the Panchatantra. So we know what is a fable. A fable is a very, very short poem, but it's got a message. It has got a moral. A poem of 14 lines is called as a sonnet. All right. Then you have a song-like poem, which is a lyric. So what are lyrics? Actually, lyrics means the lines in a song are called as lyrics. So a poem which is like a song is a lyric. Okay, then a poem with no uniformity of rhyme, rhythm, etc. So see, there is nothing, no rule followed here. There is no uniformity. That means it is free. So it should be free verse. All right. Then a poem set in picturesque, rustic backgrounds. So something, when you read the poem, you get an idea about how the scenery in that particular situation will be. So that is called as an idyllic poem. Okay, an idyllic poem, or it's called as an idyll. Now you have a sad poem lamenting the death of a loved one. When someone dies and you are lamenting, means you're crying over the death of a loved one, that time that poem is called as an elegy. Okay, and a 5-line short funny poem with rhyme scheme AABBA. So this is a fixed rhyme scheme, AABBA, and it is just got 5 lines, and it is short and it is funny. These kind of poems are called as limericks. Okay, and the last one here is a poem written just to create humor. So the obvious answer is humorous poem. Now there is one that we have left out here. So we have a ballad. And what is a ballad, children? A ballad is a poem or song narrating a story in short stanzas. Stanzas means just like we have paragraph in prose, we have stanzas in poems. Okay, so these are, you can say, the different kind of poems in English. We are not supposed to go in detail about all of them. This is just for your understanding and for your general knowledge. Okay, and we are doing it since it is part of our lesson today. So now we will move on to the main part of our lesson, and let us talk about the poem and about the writer or the poet. Now what is the name of the poem? It is Where the Mind is Without Fear. So in what situation will your mind be without fear? The situation will be when you are in a familiar environment, when you are in an environment where you can speak your mind, when you can do your own thing. You need not be worried about what others will think. You do not have any kind of external control on yourself. Only in that situation, your mind will be without fear. So what is that situation called? That situation is called the situation of freedom. Okay, so Rabindranath Tagore, he has written this particular poem before independence. So at that time we were under the British rule and we were not a free nation. So Rabindranath Tagore had this kind of dream that one day my country will come into a situation where the minds of the people who are living in this country, the citizens of this country, the people of the nation, they will have a mind which is without fear. So that was the main idea which Rabindranath Tagore wanted to highlight in this particular poem. Let us look at a little bit about the life of Rabindranath Tagore. So he was born in Calcutta. That is, it was the Bengal presidency. We had three presidencies, the Bengal, the Bombay and the Madras presidency. So Rabindranath Tagore was born in Calcutta, which was the Bengal presidency in British India. One very important and famous thing about him was he was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize for literature, that is for writing stories, articles, etc. in 1913. So till that time, the Nobel Prize, which is given for exemplary work in different fields, okay? So Nobel Prize is given for science, for technology, for biology, for many other fields. So for literature, he was the first non-European. It is usually given to foreigners, to Europeans, because they do not consider us Indians or Asians as equal to them. But Rabindranath Tagore, he broke that shackle and he was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize. He introduced new prose, new verse forms, etc. into Bengali literature. And there is a sobriquet for him. Sobriquet means he was lovingly called as Gurudev. Alright, so that is about Rabindranath Tagore. General information, let us look at some information in your textbook also about him. So this is a print of your textbook. So Rabindranath Tagore, he was born in the year 1861 and he passed away in 1941. That is, he did not live and he was not fortunate enough to see India a free country. And he was the author of Gitanjali. So this is a collection of poems. And he, like I told you just now, he became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature for Gitanjali. This particular poem is one of his vastly read and discussed poems. So people from all walks of life, they have read this particular poem and they have discussed about it also. It was originally written by Rabindranath Tagore himself in Bengali and then he translated it into English. He himself did the translation. Now Tagore lived during the time when India was ruled by the British, and in this poem he wants not only political freedom for India from the British, but he also wants social, educational and economic freedom for the people of this country. Okay? Now let's go on and let's read this particular poem. I will mark the line where I am reading and we will also mark the difficult words and I'll try to explain the meaning of the words and the meaning of the lines to you. So, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Now where do you hold your head high? You hold your head high in a place where there is respect for you. And if you have to have respect, you have to have freedom. If you are a slave, no one will respect you. So he's saying that where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. Knowledge is free means where education is available to all, because education is the key which will open the lock of our luck, okay, of our destiny. If you are educated, then you will have a better life because you will get a good job, you will have your own freedom, you will have a better standard of living. So everything is connected to knowledge. It is connected to education. That is the reason why your parents and we, your teachers, focus and we are insistent that you should come to school, you should pay attention to studies, etc. Okay? So where the world has not been broken up into fragments. So now he wants a world which is one and which is not broken up into pieces like this country, that country, countries fighting amongst each other. So fragments here means pieces. Okay, so he does not want the world which has been broken up into pieces by narrow domestic walls. So walls means the boundaries, okay, or you can say the lines of control or the borders. So he does not want the world to be broken up into fragments, neither physically nor mentally, but where words come out from the depth of truth. So where people speak the truth, and from the depth of truth the words come out means true words are spoken. People do not cheat, they do not double cross, or they do not cause harm to others by saying lies. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Here tireless and striving both mean the same thing, working hard, where people work hard, okay, and stretch their arms towards perfection means they work towards perfection. They want to become perfect. So when do you want to become perfect? You want to become perfect when you are involved in your work, when you are dedicated towards your work, when you are sincere towards your work. So he wants all the people in this nation to be sincere, to be dedicated, and to work hard for achieving all their dreams and goals. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. So people think reasonably, people think rationally, okay, into the dreary sand of a dead habit. So here dreary means something which is colorless, something which is sad, something which is cheerless. So of dead habit means bad habits. So there are certain habits. For example, some people, they smoke. Okay, so that is a habit with them. Now their reason tells them that they are not supposed to smoke because smoking leads to cancer. But somehow their habit is clouding their reason. It is clouding their clear thinking. They know that it is harmful for them, but they are not able to break away from the sad desert of bad habits. Where the mind is led forward by thee. Now thee means he is addressing God. He's saying that the minds of the people should be led forward by God. That is, people should be God-fearing. People should be having faith in God. When you have faith in God, you always think about consequences. You always think that when you do bad, bad will come to you. When you do good, good will come to you. So your actions are actually directed by God into ever widening thought and action. But being God-fearing or being, you can say, involved in a religion or being part of a thought process does not mean that you have a lot of superstitions within you. So your thinking is not narrow, but your thinking is ever widening. Not only your thought, but your action is also ever widening. Ever widening means it is broad. It is not narrow. Okay? Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So it is a prayer which he has said to his Father. Father means to the God that we believe in. He wants his country to awaken to this kind of freedom. So political freedom was not there when Rabindranath Tagore ji wrote this poem. So along with the political freedom, along with freedom from the British, he wanted all this other kind of freedom also for the citizens of this country. Okay, so that is about the reading of the poem, about the meaning of the difficult words, and about the meaning of the poem. Let us proceed now and do some more exercises here. So this is one more, you can say, meaning or one more summary of the poem. Let's read it before we proceed. So, Where the Mind is Without Fear is a pre-independent poem in which the poet sincerely urges to God to awake his fellow beings for the realization that the essential need to live in a free and united country. So, what is the most important thing? That we should live in a free and united country. He wants his countrymen to awake and enjoy the life of full dignity and honor. So we should not be living as slaves. We should be living with full dignity and honor. His countrymen would not be superstitious or believers of blind faith. Rather, they would lead the life of enlightened and the educated. So I told you education should be free for all. So we will live a life of enlightenment and education. He wishes to the people to be honest, open-minded and industrious. Industrious means hard-working. Then only they would stretch their arms towards perfection and the nation can actually achieve the apex of success. So our nation will become a developed nation. Okay, so this is the gist or the summary of this particular poem that we read now. Let us now move on and let us do some more exercises to see whether we have understood what is there in the poem. So read the columns carefully and match the expressions with their meanings. So let us see whether you're able to match it. So pause the video, check whether you're able to match it and then come back and check the answers. So the head is held high means a person with self-respect and proud of possessing it. You have self-respect and you're proud that you are a self-respecting person. Narrow domestic walls means narrow-mindedness. Okay, people who do not think on a broad manner. People who think narrowly. Knowledge is free means education is given to all. Depth of truth means sincerity of heart. Mind is without fear means that person is fearless. Stretches its arms means to broaden the outlook and attitude, thinking and as well as action, to have broad thinking and better actions. Clear a stream of reason simply means clear thinking. Dead habits means dried, infertile land of sands. So a habit is a dead means it's a bad habit which is of no use in your life. So it is like dry, infertile land which cannot produce anything good. Ever widening thought and action means aiming at perfection. Okay, so this is what I think it is. Now what you can do is you can check whether your answers match with mine. Now let us also write the answers here. So 1 is C, 2 is D, 3 is E, 4 is B, 5 is A, 6 is I, 7 is G, 8 is F, and finally we have the last one, 9, which is H. Okay, so this is about the main ideas in the poem, and if you were able to match them perfectly, very good, well done. All right, moving on to the next exercise. Let's see what this exercise is about. So here there are some concepts in the poem which are, one situation is the present situation. Now the present situation is the situation which existed then when India was not free, when this poem was written. Okay, and then we have the ideal situation, that is how do you want it to be, what is and what you want to be. Okay, now let us take a small example. Now what is now? We are in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are not able to go to school. So this is the present situation. What is the expected situation or the ideal situation? Expected situation is we pack our bags and happily, merrily, we get up in the morning, we go to school, we meet our friends, we meet our teachers, and we have a lot of fun in the school and we study a lot too. So that is the ideal situation. That is the expected situation. Okay. So here, look at the first idea. Mind. So in what situation is the mind presently, that time when the poem was written? The mind is full of fear. And what is the expected situation? That the country will become free and people will no longer have to fear the British. So the expected situation is a fearless mind. What about the head? Again, pause the video, try to figure out the answers. Okay, so head, present situation, the head is bowed low because we are slaves to others. We were the slaves of the British Raj. So our head is bowed low. In the ideal situation, our head is held high. Okay? Knowledge. In the present situation, knowledge is not free at all. At that time, knowledge was not free. Everyone could not go to school. Okay? There were a lot of bondages in society. But in the current situation, in the present situation, which is ideal for all of us, free knowledge for all. See, we are all going to school, isn't it? Most of us do not pay any fees in the school. So words, what about words? Words are deceitful words. So the British used to misguide the people and they used to cheat the people. They used to harass the people. So the words in that situation was deceitful. Whereas in the expected situation, the words are truthful. What about habit, children? Habits were bad habits. Okay, people had bad habits or people were said to possessing bad habits. And what was the ideal situation? That people develop good habits so they work for the betterment of their nation. What about thought and action? Thought and action was narrow-minded. People had a lot of superstitions, wrong beliefs, wrong traditions, etc. And what is the expected ideal situation? Open and free thought and action. So this is about the exercise in your textbook. Okay, let us move on and do one more exercise where you're supposed to complete the sentences using your own interpretation. So you are supposed to write what word you think will fit in here. I will give you my version. You can write your version and let us see how far we are close to each other in thinking. So when the mind is without fear and head unbowed, we enjoy total freedom. Now I have written total. You can write complete. Okay, that is also right. It depends on your own interpretation. Remember? So this is my interpretation. Your interpretation might be different from mine because we are two different people, isn't it? So when knowledge is free, every citizen enjoys the right to learn and earn. We can prevent mass injustice when we pull down discriminatory walls of caste, class, religion, etc. Constant effort and strife leads to success. Logical thinking and reasoning can put a stop to superstitions. Tagore appeals to God to make his country a paradise. You can also write heaven. Okay, meaning is the same. Alright, so this was my interpretation. You can change words according to your own interpretation. Let's move on and let's do this one more exercise. So you have to fill in the blank. Students should keep themselves aloof from. What do you think? What should you keep yourself aloof from? From narrow thinking. Again, you can write your own ideas over here. I have just given you a guideline. You can use my guideline and you can write your own ideas. When dash everyone will be literate. When each and everyone will be literate. It is a social duty of every student of the modern world to uproot evils from society. Students must develop scientific outlook and attitude. You can also write broad outlook and attitude. Okay? Open-minded outlook and attitude. In the world of psychophancy, students must not get carried away. Sycophancy means, a very simple word I'll tell you in Hindi, you will understand, it's called chamchagiri, where you're unnecessarily praising people and unnecessarily you are trying to, create a situation where you get some kind of benefit from the other person, but you do not mean anything well for him or her. Okay, so this was another exercise from your textbook. Now let's go to a part of your, you can say, vocabulary or figure of speech exercise. Now whenever you do a poem, you will definitely have 1 or 2 questions based on figure of speech. So in this particular poem, you have a figure of speech called metaphor, which is mentioned. So let us try to see what are the examples of metaphor, what is the meaning of metaphor here. So what is metaphor? What is the definition? It is a figure of speech stating that 2 things are similar. For example, the book was a passport. So the book here is being said to be similar to a passport. You are what you eat. That means whatever food you eat, you will become like that food. Doesn't mean that if you eat chicken, you will become a hen. It means that if you eat healthy food, you will become healthy. If you eat unhealthy junk food, you will become sick. Okay, her hair was silk. So her hair was so soft that it was like silk. So this is the meaning of metaphor. Let's look at one more definition. So it is an implied comparison. It is not direct comparison, okay? We are not using words like as and like here to compare. So it is an implied comparison between 2 unlike things. These things are not at all alike. For example, in the previous example, we saw hair and silk. They are 2 different things, but they have some quality in common. That is a softness. So an implied comparison between 2 unlike things that actually have something important in common. So a very important thing is common between those 2. For example, the boy was a fish in water. So the boy is being compared to a fish. But is the boy actually like a fish? No. But there is a very important quality. Just like the fish loves water, this boy in our example also likes water. Can you see? He's sitting in the swimming pool on a tube, and he is enjoying water. So this is the meaning of metaphor. Let us look at some examples. You are my sunshine. So we are comparing a person with sunshine. Now why will you do that? What is common between a person and sunshine? So just like sunshine is important in our lives, sunshine brings joy, brings happiness, brings a new day. In the same way, this person whom you are talking about is a joy in your life. That person brings a new day in your life, and that person brings something good to your life. That is why you're calling that person as your sunshine. Okay? He was a busy bee. Now you know, he is being compared to a bee. Why? Because both of them are very busy. He is also always busy, and the bee is also always busy. Then you are the apple of my eye. So the person is being compared to the apple of someone's eye. Being the apple of someone's eye means being someone very dear. Children are angels. She has a heart of gold. The cloud is a fluffy pillow. So these are all examples of metaphor. Now let us go to the exercise in your textbook, where you have to find out examples of metaphor from the poem. So see the first one. Into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. So here a dead habit is compared to a dreary desert sand. Okay, and then you have the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. So your thinking, your reasoning is compared to a clear stream. Alright children, so this was the poem for you. We talked a little bit about the poet Rabindranath Tagore and about the great the distinction that he had achieved in his life. We read the poem, we tried to understand the meaning of the words.
So children, you have watched the video now, and I hope you enjoyed watching the lesson. So now after you watch the video, now you might watch it on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. But once you finish watching the video, I have a few simple tasks for you now. So what will you do? You will please go to the description box below the video. So let us see how the description box looks like. See, it looks like this. Alright, and once you reach the description box, you will find that there are a few simple questions that I have given you to answer. These questions are based on the video. So you will find some questions there in the description box. What will you do? You will read the question properly, and if you have watched the video well, you will definitely be able to answer them. So try and answer them and write down the answers in your notebook. After that, you will also click on the link to fill up a Google form which I have pasted there. So now what is a Google form? Now the Google form looks like this, children, and in the Google form you will be asked again some simple questions about how you have liked the video, were you able to understand what is there in the video, and some information about yourself. Alright, so these are some tasks which you will have to now do after you finish watching this video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.